Welcome back to the visualization video number 2. We ended with this section, and so let's go back to the level 1 view and take a look at applying a material with the paint tool. With the split face tool in the modify tab, we can select the floor and use these draw tools to create the surface that we want to split, and then we'll use the paint tool to paint the flooring with the material. So for this example, we'll go ahead and use lines. I'm clicking in the different corners here. And I only need 3 lines because the edge will become the 4th line. And then pick the green check mark. Now we can use the paint tool to change the material class to carpet. Select carpet 1, and then in your drawing, select this floor region. You can see the surface pattern. Go ahead and pick done, and then go to the visual displays and pick realistic. You'll see the different material that you applied to the surface that we split and then painted with the material. If we go back to one of our 3D views, like the 3D VG filter, we can see in this drawing that the walls are not in line with the mullions. To clean up the drawing, you might have to select the wall and then pick Edit Profile and edit this profile so that it's closer to the mullion. Pick Remove Constraints. Use this Trim command here to clean up the corner. Pick the green check mark to update the wall. So let's go to the level 1 ceiling plan and then pick ceiling and pick sketch ceiling. Using these draw tools to sketch the ceiling, I'm going to pick points here around the room to create a closed loop ceiling, and then change your properties here to the gypsum wallboard on metal stud and pick the green check mark. The gypsum wallboard material doesn't have a pattern on it. Let's pick Edit Type and then pick Edit Next to Structure, and for the finish we're going to pick gypsum wallboard, and then here for the surface pattern we'll change this to sand. We'll go ahead and pick OK. And now that our ceiling is in place, we can go to the 3D view, and with our pointer rested on the view cube, we can right click and go to Orient to View. Earlier we used elevations to create a call out. Floor plans and level 1. It'll automatically crop the level 1 floor plan, and now we can look at the front view and use the section box to make the view high enough to see the ceiling. Then go to the top view and change your visual display to wireframe. When you're in the 3D view looking at the ceiling with wireframe on, you can now go to component and place a component and place your lights, like these recess lights, on the ceiling while still seeing where the furniture is below. We'll go ahead and place 3 of these recessed lights along the wall here, or in your design. And then we'll load the family under lighting fixtures, pennant light disc, and put this pennant light over our table. We do also have a pennant light linear 96-inch that we can put over here on the conference table. We'll need to select it and then rotate it and move it into place over the conference table. If we go to the ceiling plan level 1, you'll be able to see the lights that we put in that are on the ceiling. Now we're ready to go to the level 1 view and create a camera. We'll go to the View tab and go to 3D View and pick Camera. And notice that there's a default offset of 5'6" for the camera to be that high. You can change that if you'd like, but that's about eye level. And we'll start the camera, or put the camera here by the door, and then the target will be towards the conference table. With this view created, you can pick Tile, close out of any other views that you're in, pick Tile again, and see side by side the plan and the perspective camera view. When you select the boundary of the camera view, you'll see the camera in the plan. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the display of this section by selecting it, going Hide to View and Category. When I use the boundary of the perspective view to change the width of the view, we can see in the floor plan how these visual lines are changing. You can maximize the perspective view and use the navigation wheel to change the perspective view by holding your left mouse button down on some of these inner zoom commands, like walk, if you like to walk closer here and or back away from your room. You can also hold your left mouse button down on look and have the flexibility of looking to both sides and deciding on what's the best view. I use the boundary to open up the view a little bit, and then under Insert, if you pick Load Family, you can load the entourage here, which includes male and female. So I'll go ahead and load the female and load the male in. And then I'll need to go to the level 1 view, because as of right now, we're not able to work within the perspective view, but I believe that's going to change soon, I'm sure. You can change some settings within the perspective view, but as far as moving objects or swapping them out, we're not able to. So in the floor plan view, we can go to the Home tab and Component, place the component. And now when we take a look at these people, we're going to have to take a look at their image to see if they're sitting down or if they're standing. So if I pick, for instance, Kathy, and then I pick Edit Type, I can pick under Render Appearance this button that says Kathy on it and see that Kathy is standing. And so I'll go ahead and close those two, and I'll change this to Cynthia and pick Edit Type and then Cynthia button there, and you'll see that she's sitting. So this is the one that I used to bring into my drawing here on this chair, and then rotate it because the pointed section of this plan is the face view. So I rotated it and put it on this chair here. You can see it highlighted. Now I still need to move it up a little bit. I'll just use my arrow keys to move it up so that her legs are not back inside this chair. The RPC, Rich Photorealistic Content, still is not visible unless you render, but in Revit 2013, when you use the realistic visual display, you'll be able to see the trees and the rich photorealistic content. So now I'll go ahead and check out Alex and see under edit type if he's standing up, which he is. So I'll just go ahead and pick him to go back here in the conference room, and you can design your interior perspective view with whatever content you'd like to add. Also, I'm going to select this pendant light and then pick edit type so that I can bring it down a little bit further, a little closer to the table. Drop from ceiling 1 foot. I'll change that to 3 feet and pick apply. See how far that goes down. Maybe that's a little bit too much, so I'll adjust that to 2 feet and pick OK. Now in the perspective view, I'll go to the little teacup icon to go into the rendering dialog box and pick artificial lights. In this artificial lights dialog box, I picked the new icon and created 2 new groups. One's called downlights and the other one's called pendant lights. At least create 1 new group so that you can move the lights to different groups and have the ability to turning off on and off the whole group in your design. I'll go ahead and pick OK and close out of the render dialog box, because now I'll need to go back to that 3D view that we used that showed in wireframe the top view displaying both the lights and the furniture, and then I'll select the recessed lights with my control key held down, and you'll see in the options bar that you have the light group drop down here. I'll go ahead and put those on the downlights group, and it asks me, am I sure you want to do that? You're about to do that, pick OK. And then for the pendant lights, I'll go ahead and select the pendant light that's over the conference room, hold my control key down and pick up the pendant light that's over here above the table, come over to the light group and pick pendant lights. So you can create a group of lights so that when you render, you can turn the whole group on and off. I'll close out of this view, and now we can go render at the bottom left corner. We can try with sun only, see what that looks like. Just looking at different options, we can pick render with draft. Okay, so with just the sun, try just here interior artificial only, kind of a night scene. I'll go ahead and pick render. And so you can try different lighting schemes and find the areas that you still need to add more light. Like this plant might have a spotlight, and we're only using the draft view for now. We can also adjust the exposure as we did earlier to brighten up some of the area with highlights. So just by changing the exposure controls, we can decide on the right lighting for our interior perspective. Picking artificial lights, you can now use these check marks in front of the group name to turn on and off those groups. Under background, in this drop down, we're going to go to image and then decide on an image that you'd like to put outside of your window. Experimenting with different images and sun angles, you can get the right combination. So go ahead and create your own rendered space with your content and all of these different settings that we looked at, like your sun settings, your artificial light, your background image. You can adjust the exposure and then use the quality setting medium to create your finished rendering. And now pick Save to Project here in the rendering dialog box and create a rendering called 3D rendering. Pick OK, and then we're going to export this rendered file so that you can post it in Blackboard as your discussion board topic, and then save this one as 3D rendering and then your name so that you can post it in Blackboard in the discussion board. Remember also that all of these different surfaces have material that can be changed in its reflectivity, its transparency, and the bump surface. There are additional settings that we can use in that might also give you unique visual presentations. There are two more things I'd like you to experience in this visualization module. One would be creating a walkthrough, and the other one is a color-coded plan. Let's go ahead and go to level 1. And in level 1, we're going to create a quick walkthrough. It could be through the whole building, or in this case, I'll make a short one that goes through the room. So in that same drop down, either in the View tab or up here where the small house icon is, we'll pick Walkthrough. And now you can take a look in the options bar. This is the perspective walkthrough with an offset or height of 5'6", and it's on here from level 1. And so as I pick points, you can change the frame in the options bar to 1, so the camera will start at the first point that you picked. If you quit the walkthrough and you don't see your spline or your path, you can always highlight walkthrough in the project browser, right click and pick show camera, and then you can edit the walkthrough. Also, if I open up the plan and the walkthrough view in the project browser, I can highlight walkthrough, right click, pick show camera, and then select here edit walkthrough and play the walkthrough, and play the walkthrough here in the walkthrough view. I'm going to cancel this walkthrough because I'll need to adjust my view. Once I adjust the view, I can go ahead and pick play, so that now I'm looking at a larger portion of the room. And because I have 300 frames, I can go at a slow enough pace that you can see all the detail. Those are the basics of creating a walkthrough. You can even save it as an AVI by exporting it here as a walkthrough, and change the view to realistic so that it has the rendering appearance. Going back to the level 1 view, we can maximize it and create a duplicate of this level 1 view, and then rename that copy of level 1 to color-coded plan. The rooms need to have a room boundary. We can go to room in the home tab. We'll be coming back to creating room and area in a later module. But for now, we'll go to room and pick room. And then as you get inside one of your rooms, you can see the tag and the boundary. As you continue clicking, you can create your room boundaries that represent different areas. And then click inside your room tag to create a different name for each one of your rooms, and then in properties pick none under color scheme, and then highlight name. For each one of those values of the room name, you'll have a different color. You can change the different colors if you like, and you can change your title of your legend. You can duplicate a scheme and create one that's more unique. Pick apply and pick OK, and you'll see your color-coded plan. Then go to legend in the room and area option, and you'll have a legend that's already color-coded to those room areas. If you want to color the entire room, under color scheme, you can change this from background to foreground. Pick apply, and you'll see that all of the furniture is covered with that color. Also, for this view, you can type in VG, and for the walls, you can highlight walls and create a cut pattern here that's a solid fill and black. So you can pick override, change your color to black as an option, and then your pattern to solid fill. For this view, pick OK and fill in your walls. If you turn your shadows on and adjust the lighting, you can create a color-coded presentation.